Ba, 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 ba. My computer's a little bit too loud. Crap. There we go. Not exactly how I want to start it. Hey there, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm Heavy Armored Hubbard, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a different stream. We're going to be talking about this scene right here. Also, shout out to Baby Zone. I am stealing your video for this. Not RE5 remake. We'll say Wesker event didn't even happen. Yeah. Stoner, welcome in. Ryan, welcome back in, brother. How y'all doing tonight? Alrighty. Boy. Okay. Look at a couple more things here. 1 second, sorry. Okay. Apologies, I should have prepared more. Okay, I think everything's all set up. Alive and just annoyed? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Why is that, Stoner? Also, it's just us three right now. Me, Stoner, and Ryan here. Would y'all prefer me to play a little bit of Requiem, see if we can take down the Titan Spinner before we actually get into the discussion, or would y'all prefer me just to hop right into this? Just fight the Titan Spinner to let people, get into the stream so we can have a more broader discussion. Okay. Y'all just let me know. Because usually we don't get everyone in here until around, probably around 11 or so. Keep adjusting my mic. Whatever you prefer. Alright, yeah, let's give the Titan Spinner a couple more tries. I was actually practicing a little bit before we started the stream. So yeah, we'll give the Titan Spinner a couple tries. Goodbye, Spencer. Okay. Make sure Spencer's not talking. Up. Crap. Didn't mean to do that. Go away. Okay. Make sure that wasn't coming through. Sorry, this is all over the place. Alright. Yeah, let's give this a couple tries before we really dig into the discussion. Come on. Okay, well, we're already choking. There we go. Come on around. No game audio? Oh, shit. My bad. There we go. Holy mother of scuff. Where are you, buddy? Let's actually circle you back around this way so I can actually make sure I get it. Up the ladder. Up the ladder. Oh, come on.
Haven't you had enough? I don't have time to chase the shit.
Okay, then we go down here. Sorry, I'm not talking a whole lot. I'm trying to lock in. Ah, boy. Okay. I think I just don't have enough ammo, honestly.
organized, you know that. Guess I gotta squash you. Where are you?
Oh, come on. Grab it. Come on, buddy. Fuck. Didn't reload. Ah, botched it. Yeah, I just don't have enough ammo. Okay, yeah. I think I'm just going to have to go back to a previous save, because that... I just don't think I have enough ammo at all. Can you craft any ammo? No, I don't have any scrap or anything that's craft ammo. I can get that large gunpowder, but I still don't have enough to make any. Alright, let's give it... Let's load back here. Oh, wait, okay, well, this is... Shit. We might be soft locked.
Guess I gotta squash you. Haven't you had enough? I don't have time for this.
Oof. Oh, now I can make shotgun shells. Where'd that scrap come from? Is that pity scrap? Ah, damn little spider got me. Yeah, that had to have been pity scrap, right? Okay. Yeah, no. I may be honestly stuck. Hmm. All right, I'm. Try one more time.
You're a real pest, you know that? I guess I gotta squash you.
Oh, that'll be handy. That'll be handy. Get him. Okay.
Where are you?
Damn it, I missed. Climb, climb, climb. Ah, I'm dead. Have a free save after Grace meeting Xeno cutscene. No, I don't believe I do. Casimir, welcome in, brother. You gotta turn your butt around.
Haven't you had enough? I don't
Oh shit! It still spawns spiders even if I parry them. Oh boy. Okay, well, that's it for this. Yeah, I may genuinely be soft lock. I don't think I have enough ammo to kill him. Ah, okay. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Well, I think that's enough tries for right now. Y'all want to go ahead and get into the discussion? Let me know. Alright, Ryan. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. And I will make myself disappear. So what we're going to do is, well, hang on, let me pull it up first. Nope, not that. Pause. Pause.
Shutting
Pause.
yourself away in a dark...
Pause. Okay, there we go. Holy moly. One of these days I'll get it right. Let's show you all can hear that. Pretty sure you can, right? Make sure I can hear that. Turn down the music a little bit.
Shutting yourself away in a dark room like this is quite the change for you, after the life you've led.
Life takes unexpected turns.
Alright, yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're going to watch the cutscene from RE9. That we're gonna watch that whole thing, and then we're gonna watch the one from RE5, you know, with Spencer in them. And we're gonna just we'll watch that first, and then we'll actually start talking about it. So I will disappear, and I will be right back.
Shutting yourself away in a dark room like this is quite the change for you, after the life you've led.
Life takes unexpected turns, don't you think?
Looking back, do you feel that the choices you've made have contributed to your present circumstances?
Of course. What you sow, you reap. Isn't that the natural order?
So, tell me, Lord Spencer, what would you like the world to know?
The truth. But a short break before we begin, Miss Ashcroft. I'm not a young man. I don't have the energy I once did.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
My research opened Pandora's box, unleashing disaster upon the world.
Except Elpis, the goddess of hope? Or so the myth goes.
A blind hope.
What do you mean?
Humans cannot predict when death will come for them. This is why they have hope. I was wrong, and I am plagued by guilt. Happiness cannot be achieved at the expense of others. I think that's enough for today.
Why did you accept my request for an interview? Who is that? Is that one of your subjects?
Of course not. She was alone in the world. I took her in to make amends.
Is she...
Perfectly normal. Just an average child needing a home. She is my hope. Aren't you beautiful? Would you like to hold her?
Oh, okay. She's adorable. What's her name?
Grace.
Grace. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
I've said my piece. I only hope it serves as a requiem for those who have passed. The
new superior breed of humans, given birth by the progenitor virus. The Wesker children were entrusted with endless potential. Of them, only one survived. You.
Are you saying I was manufactured?
I was to become a god. Creating a new world with an advanced race of human beings. However, all was lost with Raccoon City. Despite that setback, your creation still holds great significance. Now my candle burns dimly. Ironic, isn't it? For one who has the right to be a god. To face his own mortality.
The right to be a god. That right is now mine. The right to be a god. You. Arrogant even until the end. Only one truly capable of being a god deserves that right.
Alrighty. So, couple things. Let's see here. Let's see what Stoner says. The only reason is a lie, so Grace, who is the baby, has a chip in there that will likely be used to make Spencer alive again, like the one from Cyberpunk. Yeah, and I've heard people saying that Grace has a connection to Spencer to be somewhat of a clone because she was allegedly a clone, but now that's no longer the case. But again, Spencer very well could be lying. So the only three explanations I have for this are that Spencer is being 100% truthful, and only when confronted with Wesker he knew he was going to die, and so he put on the facade of I'm a god, blah 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 blah, just to taunt him. Because Spencer probably doesn't, Oswald probably doesn't like Wesker at all for Wesker's espionage, betraying him, basically working against his entire empire to bring it down, and all that. 2, Spencer is lying the entire time to appeal to the masses with this interview with Alyssa, because you got to remember, Alyssa is probably one of the last people who you would want to talk to, a direct victim of something that you caused. But PR wise, that probably looks pretty good to everybody else. Now it's unknown whether this was broadcasted. I don't believe it was, considering that the only other copy was hidden behind a painting for 15 years. But he was lying all the way up to the end, and then when confronted with Wesker, he, told him the truth. And the third one, which is the least interesting one, is that the official narrative, the one from the game, is true, and that he was remorseful, but then became senile by the time he was killed by Wesker. Or Stranger, she is a Wesker child clone. We meet another Wesker in Revelations 2. Yeah, we meet Alex Wesker. I was actually looking for some stuff about Alex Wesker to see what all she said about Spencer. But she doesn't really say much about him other than that he was a fool and that she betrayed him and this and that and the other. I really need to go back and play Revelations 2 again. But so let's go ahead and go through the three different explanations for this. That the first one being, Spencer is, I can't even remember what the first one. Like I said, the first one was him being crap. I can't remember what the fucking first one I said was. He was remorseful. Okay, let's just address the official one, because I cannot for like me remember. I am brain fogging right now. I don't know fully myself. One of the options sounds plausible, but honestly, we won't know unless the developers tell us. Yeah, that's another thing. We won't really know conclusively until the Resident Evil 5 remake, and I do think that it's likely that they will change that. But pretty sure all the Weskers tried to backstab Spencer, just Wesker Albert is the only one that succeeded. Well, all of the other Wesker children died, allegedly. Because, obviously in Resident Evil 5, he says he's the only Wesker to survive, yet Alex Wesker is alive, and then not so well in 2015. But, anyway. So, concerning the official narrative of Wesker, of Spencer going senile, I think that's just a cop-out, man. I think that's just a way for the developers to, explain away the Resident Evil 5 thing. But, because we don't really have any evidence to, we don't really have any evidence that could lead us to that conclusion that he did go senile. Yeah, he was talking a little bit, like, maniacally, like, a tiny bit, but no more than some other guy. Also, something that people don't seem to understand about people who are senile. Senile doesn't mean that you're, absent-minded. You're still able to communicate and talk. It's just, sometimes things slip. And, you're not, sometimes, your memory slips. Sometimes your train of thought slips. I might be senile myself because I can't remember the first point I made about this freaking discussion. But yeah, no, he could have been senile, but again, we don't really have a whole lot of evidence pointing to that. He seemed very much lucid. Could be trying to do the Western style writing of the bad guy was really the good guy. Japan has been doing more Western style writing. Yeah, no, that's definitely one thing I am worried about, is that they will, again, with the Resident Evil 5 remake, they will go back and retcon him to being all remorseful, and then when Wesker shows up, he'll say, "Oh, Wesker, I am so sorry. You didn't deserve anything that happened to you, blah, 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 blah." Right. That is very plausible what will happen. Also, why did my concurrent viewers shoot down to 0? Is everything alright? Did the stream die? Am I still up? Baba Booey? Alright, well, I guess I'll just keep talking to myself. Alright, so yeah, the senile thing, we don't really have a whole lot of evidence for that. And let me actually pull up this note here. There we go. Alright, this is Alyssa's notes about the interview. Alright, Stoner's still here. That's good. So hopefully that means everyone's still here. Alrighty. But yeah, these are the notes that Alyssa took about the interview. Found an umbrella out of despair. What is that word? Loquacious? I've never actually seen that word. I might be retarded. Anyway. T-virus, bioweapons, incomplete blood research, immortality, memory transfer, advanced breed of humans, mind control, all for the evolution of humanity. Bioterrorism and human experimentation, no response to question, doubt. Elpis will be there, blank, help us look it up later. Impressions. More rational than expected, a pure scientist and idealist. That purity was the origin of madness. A twisted genius at his core, some hesitation in his speech. Is he hiding something? Anger? Regret? So, working off of this, and I tried finding some other files of Spencer talking. The only other one that has any kind of significance is his letter to Mother Miranda, but that's just him talking about, founding Umbrella and his want to further human evolution. Ting to talk a great deal, talkative, never loquacious. Sarah was now totally lost for words. But just from this, just from Alyssa's account of it, the main one here is the last two lines. Some hesitation in his speech. Is he hiding something? Anger or regret? Now, some might construe that as him being remorseful, but I'm more inclined to believe that he is lying. We're going to move on to the second point that I made, because for the life of me, I can't remember the first point. I'm losing my mind. I'm going senile myself. But yeah, that he was lying, which I honestly believe that is probably the most plausible explanation. And there was a... Sorry, I got interrupted there. But yeah, no, I believe he is lying. Because just a whole lot of what he says doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, at least within this interview. Because he talks about his that he was wrong for, let's just rewind it.
Happiness cannot be achieved at the expense of others.
Happiness cannot be achieved at the expense of others. Now, this man, who is responsible for the experimentation and torture and death of literally thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of that. Like, this man has single-handedly caused a pretty big portion of the world's population to be turned into goop, pretty much. Like, I mean, he has a freaking... There was a freaking entire island full of experiments and everything, right? Sheena Island. Just full of... just full of absolutely some of the most fucked up experiments, loaded with tyrants and everything, and just everywhere. And his personal estate, the Spencer Mansion, I say his personal estate, that was a research facility, was, used as experimentation. And I know the Spencer Mansion wasn't an intentional thing, but whenever these things unintentionally happen, it's always due to they always seize the opportunity to collect data on it. So when that happens more than, say, once, maybe twice, then it becomes a little bit of a pattern. I know I'm kind of trailing off here, but yeah, no, this man responsible for thousands upon thousands of deaths is now suddenly remorseful. What changed? That he, is exiled from his company, pretty much. That the world sees him as the monster that he is. I mean, he had an entire god complex, and I'm sure there were a great deal of people trying to stop him before. I mean, hell, he killed his two friends in order to achieve more power in the company that he created. Well, I mean, he didn't kill what was his name? Alexander Ashford. He didn't kill him, but he did kill James Marcus. And I know he sent Wesker and Birkin to do it, but no, he did. He essentially pushed Alexander out of the company and killed James Marcus, which was, the Leech's motivation for trying to end Umbrella as well in Resident Evil 0. So this man really didn't hold any bonds of fellowship either. So again, what changed? Because at this point, I feel like, Spencer, being the man that he is, would double down, would triple down, right? Honestly, the one thing I can think of that honestly would fit is that he made this cure just to spite the people that removed him from his company. Yeah, I was actually going to get to that. But yeah, no. Like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Because, again, he's an egomaniac who saw himself as a god, right? So, when faced with... And I know people can change, and I know this is an attempt to give him some more character as more than just the generic bad guy, evil man, evil company man. No, but like, Spencer had already been characterized as someone who would do anything to achieve his goals, anything. But now, when he gets exposed for the bad things he does, he suddenly becomes remorseful. That kind of seems like a cover, right? So here, I believe that this was an entire PR stunt, calling in one of the victims of Raccoon City and doing an interview and then pulling up this. This right here is the trump card, Grace. Because it's easy to sympathize with someone who's holding a baby. Someone who says that, this person, this baby, is his attempt to make amends. Now, I'm not going to tell someone how to make amends for the death of literally millions, or literally of thousands, but my brother in Christ, adopting one kid ain't going to do it. I really, again, I might be sounding pessimistic, but adopting a single child after you had already experimented on hundreds of children by this point, probably. I don't know, man. It kind of just seems like a publicity stunt. And, it's easy to sympathize with someone. Like I said, it's easy to sympathize with someone holding a baby. Because, it kind of worked on me. Because I thought for a minute, maybe he is remorseful. Maybe this is a little bit of a deeper character than I thought. But no, I believe that this... I do believe he is a deeper character. But I believe that he is a lot smarter than the official narrative portrays. I believe this is all part of his plan. Like, because he can't control his company right now, but he can control how everyone sees him. And this is his attempt to do that. But getting on to Elpis, Casimir. Yeah, I do believe, because he started... Let me rewind this here.
Behind.
My research opened Pandora's box, unleashing disaster upon the world.
Except Elpis, the goddess of hope, or so the myth goes.
A blind hope.
What do you mean?
Humans cannot predict when death will come for them. This is why they have hope. I was wrong, and I am plagued by guilt. Happiness can...
Okay. So, Alyssa here brings up Elpis. Let's see, where was it? Crap, I lost it. Alright. She brings up Elpis, right?
The goddess of hope, or so the myth goes.
A blind hope.
What do you mean?
Humans cannot predict when death will come for them. This is why they have hope. I was wrong.
So, she brings up Elpis, but it kind of seems like he just hand waves it away as a blind hope. But now, he started developing Elpis and completed it in 1990. At least that's, what the files say. That Elpis was completed in 1990, and then he sealed it away with a password that only he knew, which the password was Hope. So that kind of muddies his motivations a little bit, right? Because why would he have an antiviral that could, basically counter every virus ever created before or after? All before Raccoon City. This wasn't an attempt to make amends. This was something that he had already set up, which seems to be a failsafe, right? Because only he had access to it, and there was no way anyone else could get access to it without, destroying Elpis and destroying Elpis. And no one even knew what Elpis was. That's why it was misconstrued as a weapon and not an antiviral. So this does seem like a fallback plan for him, that in case this did happen, he would leave hints for someone to come and collect and unleash Elpis, which would destroy the entirety of his empire, pretty much, which, would destroy more than had already been destroyed after Raccoon City. Mostly when it comes to something like G-Virus, something being tested without his touch. Yeah. But, now, the existence of Elpis and Grace kind of seem to be breadcrumbs to him, kind of outwitting everyone. Like Gideon said, maybe Gideon was right, that this was his plan all along. That after, because he knew everyone was gunning for him, and that he was going to be taken down eventually. That, Elpis was going to be the trump card to end all trump cards, and that Grace was just not a key per se, but just a breadcrumb for someone to find and unlock it. But yeah, no, Elpis seems like Elpis does seem like a bit of a muddied thing, if that was his blind hope. I believe when he's talking about his blind hope, he's referring to Grace. It cures everything, okay, but how? Writers could have not gotten G-Virus until after the events by Hunk. Yeah, that's another thing. Pulling off into a tangent here. Elpis seems to be an antiviral that works magically, right? Because yeah, they had stuff on the T virus and the G virus and the progenitor virus at the time, which a lot of viruses are, which are a lot of God, I cannot talk, which are, all in the same family. But then there's stuff like Las Plagas or Ouroboros or what was the Revelations 2 stuff? The T fear virus, I believe it was called. I can't remember. What else was there? Trying to remember all the viruses. The C virus, all that. And these all are from the same family, kind of. But, Las Plagas and Ouroboros, those are completely different. So, I mean, obviously Spencer didn't have any knowledge of Las Plagas or Ouroboros, I don't think. But he did have knowledge of the Megamycete, or whatever it was called, the mold. So, I don't know. Maybe his plan was to only battle viral-based weapons as an antiviral, but who knows? And aren't some of them just mixtures of past viruses made into a new one? Yeah, that's right. The C virus is a mixture of the T and G virus. And not to be confused with the T plus G virus. I swear, a lot of the story beats and gameplay are a mixed match of different stuff. Yeah. I'm trying to remember for the life of me what my first option was. For the explanation, that he was remorseful, and then put on a show for Wesker at the end. That he truly was remorseful. In terms of making sense, I don't think it makes any sense at all for him to truly be remorseful and then just like put on a show for Wesker because he knew he was going to kill him. I'm 100% sure that I'm 100% sure that I'm 100% sure that Spencer knew Wesker was gonna ice him, because what other reason would Wesker have to be there other than just to get answers and then dust the fool? So he put on a bit of a show. He got up in Wesker's face and said, I'm a god and I created you and blah 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 blah. And that probably would piss Wesker off. I mean, hell, look at this.
Human beings. However,
he pulls the Arthur Fist meme. Shoot the virus from the movies are a different type of virus. They come from T, but then evolved on their own. Yeah, we're not even touching the movies. The movies are a different beast entirely. I somehow the T virus evolved into Las Plagas and Ouroboros and this and that. Yeah, I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole, man. Respectfully. But yeah, no. I think the only plausible explanation for this is that he's lying. Right? He has to be lying. And I know that might not be the preferred, the preferred outcome for this. Maybe Capcom's intentions were to give him some more depth, and that thinking that maybe he could be remorseful while still feeling that he did deserve, the right to become a god. Maybe he was remorseful in that sense. But I don't know if those things sound mutually exclusive, right? Like, I don't believe that you can suddenly become remorseful for all the stuff you did, but then still be like, well, I still kind of deserve to be a god for everything I did. That kind of sounds stupid, right? So, at the end here, like, what do we got? We got a man who claims to be remorseful, adopts a child, and so happens to get that child on camera in front of the interviewer, and then offers her to hold her during the interview, and then we never really hear from him again after this until he dies in 2006. It just seems like a bit of a coinky dink, right? This very important interview, and then you just so happen to get your adopted child brought into the room, and he asked Grace to adopt Grace, or he asked Alyssa to adopt Grace sometime after this. Why would he do that? What reason, unless he believed that he couldn't raise her, to be good or whatever, or there's no way he didn't think he could give her a good life. I mean, for Christ's sake, hang on. I mean, this is where he lived at the time of his death. I don't know if this is where the interview was conducted. I don't think so. It very well could have been, though. But, I mean, where else would the interview be conducted, though? So, I mean, he definitely still had the means to give her a good life. But then he gave her to Grace, so what? Maybe so that she wouldn't be killed by someone trying to get after her. Because obviously Wesker didn't know Grace existed. I think excuse me. I think obviously Wesker didn't really care all that much for Spencer's research, other than, what he could attain from it, while Gideon was absolutely obsessed with it, right? So maybe he did see some stuff about it and then just skimmed over it because it's like, it's just another test subject, who cares? And he didn't even hear about Elpis. Obviously, I'm talking about this like, Capcom didn't make RE9 after RE5. Having a normal life would be the best gift he could give her. Being associated with him would only make her life hard and dangerous. Yeah, that's a fair point. I do think he's remorseful, but for a different reason, that he's a god that fell so low and he has to stoop to these types of levels of making himself look better in the eyes of mortals. That's what I think. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. I didn't think about that. Yeah, no, that kind of goes back to what my first point was, kinda, just a little bit just a little bit twisted. That he was remorseful, but then he still felt he was a god in a sense. Yeah, that's a very good point, Cass. And yeah, having a normal life for her probably would be one of the better gifts that he could give her. But I mean, it seems like he did this as a just a backup, just breadcrumbs. He never knew that Grace or Alyssa would ever find Ark or ever find Elpis. I'm sure he knew that the connections would find it, but maybe he anticipated that the connections would find Grace eventually, and that she would be able to unlock Elpis with the hints given to her by her mother and Spencer. That was a clone made by the connection. Who, Spencer? But again, all of this. I'm talking like this. Like, Capcom isn't probably going to retcon this entirely, because now that the remakes are, I guess, considered the mainline canon, they have retconned a lot. Like, again, here.
New superior breed of humans, given birth by the progenitor virus. The Wesker children were entrusted with endless potential. Of them, only one survived. You.
Okay, now, this isn't a retcon that the remakes made, but this was a retcon that Revelations 2 made with Alex Wesker, right? Like, either Spencer is misremembering, or he's just straight up lying. Because I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that Spencer wouldn't be able to know that another Wesker child was alive. I mean, hell, Alex Wesker worked with him. So he had to have been lying. I think he was humbled that ultimately he's come to terms with his limitations. I think the God mentality was his original thought, but only doubled down on it to keep Wesker and everyone oblivious. Yeah. The remake were just fun remakes, but now Capcom wants to say new canon. I assume because the suits assume a more general audience would like it. I believe that the remakes, they want Resident Evil to be taken more seriously, because Resident Evil is campy, alright? They want to be taken more seriously, and that's why the remakes have gone so far into the serious, in the serious direction. Not that the games weren't serious before, but they were campy. They were a little bit goofy. But now they're super edgy serious. I feel like that's what they're trying to do, and that this suits the direction that they're going. And yeah, it does appeal more to general audiences. Also, something else from when she met Grace and when she finally died. There's a big age gap. My question is, maybe she didn't release the information in the interview because she knew he lied. Let's see here. Let me pull this back up. Anyone else getting Emperor Palpatine from Spencer? Oh yeah, no, he definitely pulls that pulls that vibe. Per retcon, of course, which I think still works because Spencer can be viewed as a master chess player and was 10 moves ahead of Wesker. I believe that he was lying, and that he's like a billion moves ahead of everyone. I think Gideon was spot on when he said that, Spencer outwitted everybody. Because, again, you got to take into account Elpis and him lying to Wesker about Alex's existence, or never mentioning Grace or anything like that. It was all in a plan to undo everything he did, because when the Empire came crashing down, he knew that eventually he was going to go down with it, and that when he did, he would eventually his legacy would take it all down too. And now, after his death, that he would be seen as a quote unquote hero for destroying the atrocities he committed. But yeah, no, this document here, the Alyssa's notes about the interview. Let's see. More rational than expected. A pure scientist and idealist. That purity, some hesitation in his speech. Is he hiding something? Anger, regret. Yeah, she definitely could have hidden that information from the public, because yeah, she probably did suspect he was lying. Now, we don't know because she did get in contact, or Spencer did get in contact with Alyssa sometime after this. But we don't know what was discussed. But we do know that Grace was given to Alyssa. So maybe he asked her to withhold that information and just to only give it to Grace when the time came. Because Alyssa had held on to that, on her person at least, for... God, how long was it? It was 2018 when Alyssa died. So she held on to that for 12 years? Yeah, 12 years. That she never once published it. But ARC did have the first half of the tape. They did have the first half of the interview, which is odd. I remember there were some articles from game journalist Mina where a member of the dev team said the remakes are not canon years ago, but those seem to be all gone now. Yeah, no, I believe that the remakes are the new canon, which I'm not crazy about. But, oh well. Let's see. But Elpis will be there blank. Now, what does this mean? This is a direct quote from Spencer. Elpis will be there blank. Now, this might be referring to the password here in the Elpis vault, which is hope. But Elpis will be their destruction could also work. Because who is he talking about? Elpis will be their blank. I don't believe he could be talking about anyone other than, the people that crossed him. But then again, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though, now I think about it. Because, the password is hope, right? I don't know. I wish I had more notes about this. I wish I had structured this a little bit better. Are those spaces the amount of letters in a word? Downfall? Maybe. I believe these are the same amount of spaces that are in the password thing. It could be downfall. How many letters is destruction? Okay, no, it couldn't be destruction. So yeah, maybe it is downfall. Or maybe it's hope. Who knows? But, at the end, though, at the end of all this, though. Oh, crap. Wrong one. Spencer was fucking nuts, dude. He was nuts. And maybe this will be solved in the Resident Evil 5 remake, or maybe this will be solved in Resident Evil 10. Who knows? But my ending thoughts on it were that he is lying, and that this was all a plan to lead to the destruction of everything that he built, just to spite everyone. Like I think, like Joda said, I think he used the word that would be unrealistic for him to use, so nobody would guess it. He's imagining, yeah. Wasn't there also a Wii game with him in it, with Spencer? Maybe Umbrella Chronicles. I've never played Umbrella Chronicles, so I don't know. The only Wii game that I played that was a Resident Evil game was a Dark Side Chronicles, and he is not in there as far as I know. But another question I have about this, though, is does this add to his character? Umbrella Chronicles. I actually need to play Umbrella Chronicles. But now, does this add to his character? I'm not so sure if it adds to his character the way Capcom wanted it to. I do believe it adds, but I believe it gives him depth as a greater villain, not a sympathetic character. If that is not the way they're going, or if that's the way they're going with the sympathetic villain angle, I believe they kind of botched it. And if they're not, then I think they did a great job. I'm guessing the word by narrowing down all possibilities. Yeah, that's probably right, Joda. Yeah, you probably got that 100%. Now, Spencer's a smart man, dude. Smart guy. Why make Elpis just to keep it secret if he actually wanted to make up for the bad things he did? See, that's the thing, though. He developed Elpis way, way before any of this happened. He developed it and completed it in 1990. So, I believe it was just a failsafe. I believe if he ever were to fall, that Elpis was to be the trump card to, destroy everything that he built. Because if he can't become a god, no one can. Feel bad for Spencer. No man has too much stuff for that. Feel bad for Spencer. No, the man has too much stuff for that writer. For them writers. Yeah, he is a good character. I do believe that this, again, headcanon, that he is lying and that this does add a lot more to his character as just a really smart motherfucker. More smart than what he already was. Because, developing bioweapons and everything and making something that could make Wesker, for Christ's sake, yeah, you gotta be smart. But he's even smarter than that. I think Gideon hit it on the head that this was his plan. I truly think Elpis was going to be a weapon when everyone was going to be over-reliant on BOWs and then had a magic bullet. Yeah, again, I think Elpis is supposed to be his final trump card. The final fuck you to everyone else in the world after he died. Because the connections obviously couldn't get it out of him. And Wesker didn't give a crap. I don't think Wesker even knew about Elpis's existence, which is a little bit crazy to me. Because how in the world did Alyssa know and not Wesker? I mean, Wesker had his own motivations, with Ouroboros and everything. He believed that was going to be the thing that, that separated that did the thing that Spencer set out to do. But if he saw any research that Spencer had about Elpis, he probably would have been like, oh, that seems like kind of interesting. I wonder what that is. That seems like it's a hot button topic. Yeah, I think he was unable to realize his vision, so rather than allow mankind to go into extinction for his mistakes, he provided them a way. He provided a way for them to survive by neutralizing his viruses. Another option, I think, is that he is truly so much of a villain that he sells these vile weapons, and then he's going to sell the cure to people eventually. That's the thing, though. Unless the BSA is already compromised. I don't know if the BSA will have full rights to Elpis. Obviously, the Connections has their own dosage as well now. Which I just want to talk on this a little over real quick. The ending scene when the elite guards come back and retrieve something from Ark after killing all the BSA agents. I believe they're going back to retrieve Xeno's body because one, Xeno's body is probably highly valuable, and two, Xeno's body has a dosage of Elpis in it, so they could grab his body and then recreate that from his blood. Spencer was probably motivated by a desire to have Grace live in a world without his viruses potentially killing her. Yeah, that could also be the case. I don't know. The fact that we're talking about it right now, the fact that we're going back and forth on different explanations of what this could mean, honestly is a pretty good testament of is honestly a pretty good testament of just how much depth this has added to his character. Because again, we could go the boring official way and talk about how, you know, he went senile and that was it. He just went senile and then he talked a bunch of shit to Wesker and he died. Or we could talk about maybe, you know, how he maybe truly was remorseful and that he was still an egomaniac at the end, but, you know, still held remorse for, you know, the people that he murdered. Yes, they cloned Hunk also. You can be Hunk himself. You can also be Hunk himself in Dead by Daylight, but he has a skin for Legion. I don't know if they did clone Hunk. I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't. I mean, because Hunk's a pretty big badass. But I think the one that we fight is still Hunk. I would say depth more like call out some bad writing. It could definitely be construed as bad writing. But again, I may be adding more to it than that's there. This could be 100% a retcon stoner. This could 100% be just shit writing, and they just don't want it. They just don't want Spencer to be an egomaniac villain. But I like to believe that maybe this is just adding more to an already interesting character. We do see notes on cloning. He could have been remorseful when he learned that cloning him wouldn't have made him young / cured. Now that could be the catalyst for, you know, him becoming remorseful, but I feel like that would motivate him to even more desperate lengths to achieve mortality, right? I like how they used Grace to remind Spencer of his humanity and made him realize how far detached he was from his original vision. He originally did all this with the best of intentions. Honestly, Hunk is probably one of the only characters that would survive that fight with Leon. Say it to my dying breath. Yeah, I believe he's alive. I 100% believe Hunk is still up and running around. Well, you did encounter the soldier that nearly snapped your neck like Hunk does. Yeah. I'd say... we're not talking about Hunk. Sorry, I'm trying to stay on track. You have better hope, and I'm just bitter. This is normal since after most of the IPs I like turned to shit. Now, I'm not going to say that, you know, Resident Evil's turned to shit. I don't believe it's turned to shit. No. I do believe that it has made some very grave missteps in its recent endeavors. RE3 remake. But I do believe it's doing good for the most part. But now, stuff like this, stuff with Spencer, it definitely could, like you said, definitely could be seen as just an attempt to retcon something that they didn't like originally, or that the original writers, or that the new writers didn't like. Because there's stuff in the remakes, especially, that they don't like. Like there's some censorship in Resident Evil 4. There's a few things in the Resident Evil 2 remake that are changed. Like if you remember in the original Resident Evil 2, if you play as Claire, Kendo's kind of a creep. Kendo's a kind of a little bit of a weirdo. But they changed that entirely. Spoilers for Soma. The reason why Spencer didn't go for clones is because his consciousness couldn't be transferred. It's like a whole plot of Soma. Yeah, I actually like Soma. I actually like Soma a lot. But But no, with the clones, like with the Series 60's clones, that was his attempt to you know, get his consciousness in another body, all this and everything. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, though, for him to be remorseful, genuinely, in my opinion. That's my final piece. I'm gonna say on it. I believe that he was lying, and he was lying here, all in an attempt to garner sympathy and be later seen as a hero after Elpis is eventually released. And that when faced with Wesker, decided, you know what, I'm going to tell this motherfucker how it is. And then says, you know, I'm old. I know you're here to kill me, but you're a little fucking test tube baby. Not saying RE has turned to shit, but seeing those signs of worse to come, there's a chance for the writers will fix it with the story DLC. I hope they do elaborate on it, but I believe that the story DLC will probably be focused more on just Leon going through more Raccoon City stuff. Yeah, Kendo was a bit of a machismo, that line. I'm keeping a close eye on things. Now, I can't remember what the line was, but he's just, when he plays Claire, he's just a little bit of a weirdo. But yeah, no, that's my final piece on this. Anything else anyone want to say on this? Also, I need to turn the music back on. I completely forgot it was off the entire time. I would love a prequel where we play as a young Spencer. I was thinking about that the other day. Not playing as a young Spencer, but a game where we could play as one of the settlers or a conquistador or whatever in Spain, dealing with the first, discovery of the plagas. I would love to see that. Well, there is Resident Evil 4 player game. Well, there is a Resident Evil 4 player game if you ever played it before. Are you talking about just Resident Evil 4? I wonder why he didn't turn himself into a BOW. Probably because he saw everything that wasn't, like Wesker as dirty, right? As failures. He probably didn't want to taint his own flesh with his experiments. Like a drug dealer. You never use your own product kind of thing. The one thing I will say is if they end up making it where he comes back as a clone, this is Star Wars all over again. Fucking somehow Spencer returned type shit. Dude, if they do that shit, I don't think they're gonna do that. But if ever they do, I'm gonna jump ship. But it's been a while since I played it last. Let me see what it's called. Resident Evil 4, a 4-player Resident Evil game. Oh, you're talking about Outbreak, right? Yeah, you got to be talking about Outbreak. If they do that, I'm setting my PS5 on fire. Yeah, dude. No, if they pull that shit, man, I'm not saying that Resident Evil has had the best writing. It's not. Resident Evil. It's got decent writing for the most part. I think Resident Evil 8 and 9 writing wise are pretty tight, but it's never had like the most amazing storytelling. Casimir, I think that's why they only work with Ethan, because he's mold. It's called Evil Operation Raccoon. Oh, yeah, no. I'd say I love Operation Raccoon City, dude. I'd say it's one of the reasons why my model looks like this. I say model, it's a PNG. Which, I may be looking into getting a model soon. I don't know how y'all feel about that. But we'll see. I mean, it's there's no concrete. There's nothing concrete right now, but I'm just in talks with someone. I'd say not quite big enough for that quite yet, but if we do get there, I would like to see where that goes. But I don't really have anything else on this. I may turn this discussion into a video. Depends on if y'all feel comfortable with me, saying your names in a video. There's no coming back with that. Zeno is one thing, but Spencer is weird. Marcus was tolerable because of the leeches, but that was still a head scratcher. Yeah, nah. The leeches and the flies from Resident Evil 8 that became the what was her name? The Demetrace daughters. That's just kind of weird. Resident Evil 8, I do have a problem with some of the stuff because it feels like just straight up magic. Perfectly fine with that. That's good to hear. Let's say I don't know if I will turn into a video though, just because of my my insane ramblings. Like I feel like I've went off way too much and I've just talked way too much. But who knows? Maybe people want to hear that. But it's cool seeing a fellow hunk fan in Resident Evil Operation. You meet him in the game. Yeah, no, I again, man, I love Operation Raccoon City, which they delisted off Steam because the Windows Live service is going out. You can still play it on original hardware like the PS3 and Xbox 360. You can actually play it on Xbox Series X with backwards compatibility, but I wish they would like relist it because I would love to actually stream that. You good? It shows you have passion. I don't have passion as much as I have insane ramblings in my head about something. Nah, I do love the series. And again, I just don't know how well this would hold up in a video. On a stream, it's a lot easier because, I'm just talking to you guys. And I love going back and forth with you guys. This is awesome. Y'all don't understand how much like the big ass goofy smile I have on my face when we're talking about this stuff. I mean, the leeches were fine just because Marcus was working on the consciousness transfer that Spencer wanted, but I bet he didn't want to be turned into leeches. Yeah, probably not. Which, that's crazy to me to think that that Marcus kind of accidentally got the power that Spencer wanted. But I guess it wasn't really him. I guess Spencer's idea was that, he wouldn't die and his consciousness would go on, but Marcus was dead. They should do a remastered version. They did a big old sale on Resident Evil games recently, and it really sucks because Outbreak File 1 and 2 aren't there. Operation Raccoon City isn't there. Dead Aim's not there. The Survivor games aren't there. What? There was another one. I have no idea how they'd ever be able to port Gaiden. I don't think that's ever going to happen. The only way to play Gaiden now is to emulate it. But who knows? Or the Chronicle games, they didn't port those over, I don't think. But I don't know. It is 12:12 here. I think I'm gonna do a few more attempts at the Titan Spinner, and then I'm gonna have to call it. Let me push this back. I think he might be lying, especially because introducing his redemption arc in the same game they show him cloning, experimenting on little girls would be very strange. Yeah, exactly. And just everything else. It's just I killed almost I killed probably several 100,000 people but now I feel sad. Here, let me grab this baby. Look at this baby I found. This baby I just so happened to find. A perfectly normal baby that has no that has no ulterior motives at all. I'm a good guy. Yeah, but they should do a remaster of the game because it's so cool, or do a second game. Yeah, no, I'd love a remaster or something. I don't know. I kind of feel bad. Or I kind of... No, I don't feel bad. It kind of sucks that, you know, games like Operation Raccoon City probably will never get a solid try again. And some people were, you know, giving me some shit about the Back to the Tourist video. People were giving me shit because I like Operation Raccoon City, but I don't like Resident Evil 6. My thing about that is, when it comes to mainline games, I like them to be closer to the formula. Resident Evil 6 was not close to the formula, not at all. Operation Raccoon City is a non-canon side game. Non-canon side games can be really whatever they want. If Resident Evil 6 was a side game, I think it would have been fine. That's what the side games are for. They're for experimenting. But, we're done talking about this. Let's get back into the pain. And turn on... See if y'all can hear that, hopefully. Alright. Kind of wish that you got some kind of bonus for the amount of people you saved in Renwood. Yeah. Something similar to the cathedral section in RE6. I don't know if you actually get anything, but I do think there's an achievement for saving all of them. I don't know. I need to go back at 100% 6. I don't want to, though. Take this totally normal baby that looks just like the girls I clone and doesn't turn into a T-virus bite. Yeah. Which... That actually brings up something. The T-virus spreads, obviously, through water, right? It spreads that way, through liquid form. But some people don't contract it. I know there's been, like, some talks about some people being immune. But, I don't know. Just sometimes bites infect people, and sometimes bites don't infect people. I don't know. Plot holes. Resident Evil's full of them. Alright, but let's go ahead and jump back in this. Let me actually pull this up here. I think this is before the girl. Okay, no, this is just getting into Raccoon City. Okay. Okay, this works. Alright. I'm going to sell the police because it doesn't shoot as fast as I need it to. That's not what I want. Alright, get off of me. Make sure I don't miss anything. Nope, wrong way. Ah, shit, forgot he was right there. God damn it.
You're real fast, you know that.
Oh, come on. Come on. Sometime today. Climb. Yeah, jeez. Man, I still don't have enough ammo? I still don't have enough ammo? I didn't even get him to the... like... I didn't get him to the, like, the halfway point, I don't think. Up, 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 up. Still working on the spider. Yeah, you not. Ah, damn it. Ah. Oh, come on. Leon, move your ass, man. Dude, I'm telling you, I feel like I'm... I feel like I'm landing my shots every time. Oh, what? How on earth? I'm not wrong. That kind of seemed like bullshit, right? I've never seen this happen before. I've never once had that happen before. Yep, still ain't gonna parry him. Hey, holy shit, finally. God damn. Fuck you.
Miss our Raccoon City hospitality.
That wasn't that hard. Alright. Make sure I don't miss anything. God damn, dude, that took me way longer than it ought to.
Okay, Sherry. I've hit the barricade. Looks like someone else was here first. We were planning on busting their way in. No way around?
The Army Corps of Engineers erected it to seal the city. It goes on for miles.
Guess the only way in is through them.
I don't know, man. I feel like Leon really could do with a hook shot of some kind. Oh, man, but thank you guys for being here for that, man, because I felt like that was I feel like that's the greatest achievement we've gotten so far.
Whose kid is this?
Don't care for this part, though. Oh, right. Duh.
Sherry, there's an old BSAA camp here. This is trashed. Looks like they left in a hurry.
What were the BSAA doing in Raccoon City?
Interesting.
What is it?
The computer's not locked. They were also headed to the center of Raccoon City.
Interesting, too. That reminds me. I dug a little deeper in the Pentagon's database, and I noticed something's missing.
What's that?
There's no record of anyone ordering the missile strike on Raccoon City.
If not them, then who?
We are triggered the alarm. It looks like your campaign to make the DSO stand down really didn't work, see?
I'll leave this matter to you, then.
Okie dokie. I should really see about getting a different pistol, because I honestly don't like any of the pistols that Leon has. I don't know. Maybe I should just hold on to my points for now. Alright. Let's take a quick peek in here, and then I think we'll call it a night. Oh, definitely gonna need to get some grenades, though. Say, those grenades are gonna be quite handy when it comes to actually getting into Ark.
Strange. Where are all the bodies?
Gotta check those corners. I completely forgot there was a corner peeking thing. Like, there's already BSAA zombies? Oh, shit. Oh, what the hell? He flanked me.
Strange. Where are all the bodies?
Oh, wow. Okay, they don't mess around. Holy shit, man. They got sniper aim. I don't know why I keep trying this. I gotta go to bed. I give it one more shot. Where'd they go? Where the hell is this guy? What? Oh, fudge. Man, he domed me, dude. These guys are snipers. Holy shit. Alrighty. Well, that's just gonna have to be it for me tonight, guys. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this stream and the discussion. Again, thanks for everyone for coming out, for talking to me, going back and forth on ideas. Again, that might be a video, might not. It just depends. I don't know how well people would like me just rambling back and forth. But I hope to see you guys next time. Which, speaking of next time, we will not be back until Monday because I will be going out of town Friday and Saturday. So, I'll hopefully see you guys next time. Stoner, take it easy, brother. Ryan, BD, Joda, Eli, all y'all, thanks for coming out, man. But I hope to see y'all next time.